Hello, this is Dan McDonald. I think this will be the last video in this series. Thank you for coming, Lou, sharing your time with us, my friend.
Of course.
It's unfortunate that through videos, these people will never get to know the man that you are. They can sense it, but even so, it just goes so far beyond your ability to, like 18 or 20 hours a day, you're just helping people in this house. And you put your whole heart and soul into it. You've lifted me to another level as a mentor. You've given me the ability to share and be more courageous in my communication with you as someone I love and respect, but also loving and respecting myself more to communicate with you in a way that makes me feel more empowered so we can work together better as a team. So that's really been great. This has been a fantastic visit, and I know that you've enjoyed these videos. Today, I want to go over a few things here with Lou because he's the guy to ask as far as I know, because I don't know anybody else that's been a raw vegan for as long as you. 41 years, successful raw vegan, very powerful, very energetic, 62 years old, and you don't show any signs of slowing down, no plastic surgery, no hair dyes, strength, power, health, love, success on every level, divine connection. You're the guy to ask, Lou. What are some of the things that people are doing wrong that's making it impossible for them to stay 100% raw on all raw living foods? And what can we do about it? How do we succeed long term on a raw vegan plan?
Well, off and on for several years, people have been asking that question. You know, how did you come across this whole raw living food concept? And how have you been able to stay with it consistently over the years? And I just had to come back and say, well, 41 years ago when I was 21, as you all know, or at least some of you do, back in 1973, when I was right there at the edge of my deathbed, I was embraced by a light, and I had a presence right by me, and I was given some teachings. And one of the teachings was, next to loving and forgiving and accepting and anointing all the people in my past out of compassion, to anoint them with love and success, and and just send peace to them so they could be transformed as I had been. I went from a very ugly place in my life, and I was transformed and instantaneously in that moment. So I do believe in the power of prayer because I experienced it. So when people ask me, am I a believer? I go, no, I know. I saw what I saw. I felt what I felt. I heard what I heard. I did what I was instructed. And one of the other things I was instructed to do was to abstain from all flesh and take living foods, enjoy the fruits and vegetables and the seeds and what have you. And I was taught how to do that. And so when I did it, and I was also taught to do some fastings and things like that. So, but as I did it, within 6 months, the big tumor went away, the acne, the asthma, the arthritis, the constipation, the rash, the allergies, but even all the parasites and the worms and the candida and all these different things just came out of my body, right? So when I saw that and I experienced that, and I just kept doing it and I felt great, I just wanted to keep feeling great.
Now you say some fasting, but you're talking about actually a little bit more extensive than just a couple of days on water.
I don't usually talk about fasting too much, but because before I could only go 3 or 4 hours without food, and I'd get kind of like I had to have something. And then eventually I got to a point where I could actually fast on juices for 1 day a week. And then I got to 2 days, and then 3 days, and then 100 days. I actually gravitated to 100 days on juice and water for 100 days, and at that point I was capable of going much further than that. And then I started learning to do water fasting, and then eventually I got to a 40-day water fast. I've done that several times, and I don't talk too much about it because that's another conversation, but I just want you to know.
Make sure that nobody does anything crazy, and most people aren't even there.
Right, exactly.
So
and it takes
to the raw foods.
It takes to a process. There's a process involved, and you need to know what you're doing and how to do it, and evolve into that. And It needs a little bit of guidance.
The reason why I brought that up is because there's so much bad rap about fasting, and yet for me, what it's done for me personally has been one of the single most greatest.
It's very powerful if you know what you're doing,
Right.
and you do it gradually and evolve with it and work with it. And so there's times to fast, there's time to rebuild and regenerate, fast,
I emphasize
cleanse.
that as well.
Okay.
So nobody go crazy. You took your time. You did it intelligently. You got help, and so that's the thing about that. But I just wanted to let them know that
What kept me in the game also is that the fact that I actually created and reinvented, recreated, and redesigned my life by creating a declaration. So I actually wrote down, like I'll give you a couple examples. Like I actually wrote down, and I encourage you also to go to loucorona.com and look at some examples and how to create a declaration. Because when you create the declaration, you actually write down a few things. As an example, like let's say you might say, I declare, or from this point on, from this moment on, I will love and respect and honor and appreciate my life as a blessing, as a gift. And I shall partake of raw living cultured foods. If that's your declaration, then you can say that if you want. I'll partake of raw living cultured foods, obviously plant-based organic, and you might say, I'll drink the pure alkaline structured water. I will drink the fresh juices. I will fast 1 day a week. Whatever you declare, you can put it down. I will be a kind, loving, caring person and patient and so on. And you might declare that you will do whatever you need to do to create win-win scenarios with people, like that. So whatever it is that you are being led and would like to be, and be a peaceful, harmonious person, if that's what you want to declare, then declare that. But when you put it all together, you read it 3 times a day, and eventually, after several months of reading it 3 times a day, you have it memorized, you have it internalized, and then you can say it out in the open and express it without even reading out of the paper anymore. And then what happens is you have it so internalized, so memorized, that you can word it and express it in a powerful way, and you actually become that declaration. You literally become it. And you can get clear and complete with past issues. You can move forward, recreate, reinvent yourself in a really powerful, amazing way.
The declaration is an opportunity for them to reinvent themselves.
Reinvent, recreate, reprogram, recondition ourselves, because we have been conditioned, programmed.
With lies and fallacious.
Whether we've been conditioned, programmed, purposely with lies or not, or whatever the case. The thing is that what you need to distinguish here is that there's certain things we've been taught and conditioned, programmed, whether it was purpose or not on purpose, whether it was right or wrong, is that some of these things weren't working out for us. We ended up becoming sick and ill, and we end up making stories up that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, you know what I mean? We're too fat, we're too skinny, we can never measure up, we don't belong here. I mean, we make up so many stories because we've been taken from, we've been violated, we've been bamboozled, we've been taken advantage of, we've been offended, we've been hurt.
And that eats you up inside.
It eats us up inside.
And those things are probably in your, as a healer, your diet is one thing, but those things eating you up inside. If you're 100% raw foodist and you're not dealing with that stuff, you're not going to be able to get to the next level and stay stabilized on the diet.
That's right, and that's a really deep thing to consider. That's why I'm an advocate of the 4 principles, not just eating raw, living, cultured foods. It is a superior lifestyle, for sure. Obviously, I've been doing it for years and years. I maintain strength and energy and vitality. I feel great. I feel like I just got out of college. I'm looking forward to getting married and having children, living off the land again like I did before, doing all kinds of wonderful things. I'm looking forward to
most dudes your age are just trying to get to the retirement check, get the RV and drive around the country and get fat.
I feel like I'm just getting started in life, honestly. My last mentor 17 years ago, I thought he was 45 maximum, he was 75, and he was living this lifestyle. The guy was amazing. I want to reach to what he showed me. I mean, the guy could outrun anybody I know. He could outrun anybody I know, and he was 75. He could hang off a pipe for an hour. He did things that he did this for an hour effortlessly, just squatting like that. He did many things in front of me. It was like, like amazing.
And that's
like
just
that.
not like your diet. That's another
It's
other things.
It's tapping into the 4 principles. It's mastering the 4 principles. Really, in all truth, I really, at 62, after 41 years, I'm just scratching the surface of the 4 principles and the mastery of the 4 principles. I'm just scratching the surface. And even though I'm probably beyond the average person in the 4 principles, I mean, I got a pretty good handle on it, but as far as what I know, what I've seen, oh yeah, I've got a ways to go myself.
So
I really
sometimes your mentors make you look like chopped liver.
Right. Well, I'm not going to say that, but I mean, but I have to tell you, it was very humbling to be around.
But we
this
love
last
humility, right? We love that.
Yeah. So I'm very humbled just to be here, very humbled and very thankful to live a wonderful, healthy, vibrant life. And, you know, that's why I'm even here with you right now to convey a message that those that are listening here may be able to get a sense and a feel, the power behind it. But remember, what is it that allowed me to stay consistent with it is because, and I've been evolving myself, you know, and I'm still evolving. Like I said, I have a ways to go. Maybe when I'm walking on water and can disappear when I want and go where I want my thoughts and walk through walls, maybe then I'll say I've arrived maybe. I don't know then, you know, but I'm just saying. I'm just playing with you. But we do have a ways to go, and I know there's so much more for us to grow into, but you need to start somewhere. But I just know this, we do not need to kill animals to live in this life and to have health and strength and vitality. You really don't. You don't have to kill animals, you don't have to kill your food. You can eat very simple. You know, you can enjoy the fruits and vegetables, the seeds. I mean, right in the first page of the scriptures, it says right there on the very first page of the book, it says, I have given you every herb bearing seed, every fruit yielding seed for your meat. That's what it said, you know. And so I caught that. And in the last book of the Bible, it says there'll be a time when Christ returns that all people and all animals will go back to plant eating. And it even says the lamb and the lion will lay next to each other in peace and in harmony. They will be grazing off the land together. I mean, I saw that, I was shown that, and I've been doing that for the last 41 years, and I'm still here. But I'm not here cooking my food and processing my food. I just eat fruits and vegetables and herbs organically, plant-based, of course. I soak my seeds, I germinate my seeds. I have learned how to make yogurt out of different seeds and nuts to activate them, make them easier to digest, easier to absorb. But you have to admit, you just have to admit that, you know, doing this lifestyle, isn't it kind of cool that just on the fly, if you want to hike a mountain, you can, because I can. Swim across lakes, because I can do that too, and just run and feel great and just, you know.
And not be in a state of decrepitude.
And flex yourself. Look, put those flowers over there for a second.
You're going to try this thing? Oh, that'll work. That'll work.
On the fly.
I'll stand on your back. Now it's my turn. I usually hold off on that, and for the sake of the video, I'll keep it short.
Well,
because that was a good one. I ate too much durian earlier, did it? And I was like, whoa, that's not going to work. I feel better now. The digestion of the durian.
Well,
so Lou,
good.
I want to work our way into some of the practical stuff because, you know, a lot of my viewers here, they're really awesome people and they just really like, what is the practical stuff? And one of the things that's going on is everybody's dropping off. Mm-hmm. The raw vegans are going back to cooked vegan. Mm-hmm. They're going back to cooked omnivore. They're going back to sad. They're going back to coffee, beer. What happened? What's going on here?
Well, I'm not going to say right or wrong about anybody or anything that they do. I mean, everybody's going through their journey, and I love everyone, and I really want everybody to, you know, get a sense of what this is so they can catch it and run with it and be consistent with it and have a great life for themselves. But some people, I mean, we are creatures of habit, and we have addictions. And some people, you know, go back to, like I have people that I've worked with over the years where they used to be drinkers, and then they stopped drinking. They went to different programs to help themselves overcome the drinking habit. I'm talking about drinking liquor, because they were alcoholics at one time. And then they were gone, they were clean slate for 10, 15, 20 years. And then they go back to drinking, all of a sudden, one drink, boom, they're right back where they came from, you know what I mean? And they go right back into it, and they have a challenge with that sometimes. I have the same thing happen with people with smoking. You know, they quit smoking because they know it's better for them to do that. They even get some counseling, hypnotherapy. They do whatever it takes to try to overcome the smoking habit. And then they might be cleaned up for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and then one drag of a cigarette, and they're right back to that addiction, you know, and they, you know what I'm saying?
I think I see where you're getting.
You see what I'm saying? So with cooked food, I mean, it's an addiction, and, you know, we're raised this way, and so when we get away from it, and we run a clean slate, run on raw living foods, and fresh juices, and enzymes, and herbs, or whatever, and clean up our systems, and get healthy, and feel great. But, you know, I mean, we have a society. It's been made so acceptable and so natural or normal or whatever that... Normal. Not natural, I would say normal. Yeah. And, but, you know, they take a little taste of something and they go, whoa, I've been missing out, you know, and they go right back into their old habits and their addictions and all that, and they get sucked right back into it. And so when people ask me the question, but how do you stay consistent? How do you not go back to these addictions or cook food or whatever? But you see, that's why I emphasize the 4 principles, because when you have this spiritual connection, and when you have a powerful way of thinking, and when you have your heart in the right place, and you're really eating food out of love, out of respect, out of honor, and out of appreciation for this life, you want to do what's most best for it. What's the best thing for it? So when I see, I mean, I know what cooked food does to the body. I know how it uses more enzymes to process it more than you make. Scientifically, they prove that. I've done thousands and thousands of live blood analysis on people. I've seen my own many times. I've seen people many times, thousands. And so seeing the blood and seeing when people actually gravitate to raw living foods and enzymes and herbs and all that and clean up their system, the blood goes from being wagged out, the red blood cells are unhealthy, sticky, clumpy, whatever, and it gets clean, and it gets healthy, and they get healthy, and they feel great, and their conditions go away. But when they go back to cooked food, the red blood cells get all funky again, they get all sticky again and clumpy again. So you see it in the blood. It's obvious. So there's no question about that. But on the other hand, everybody that eats animals, the same thing happens to their blood, whether it's raw or cooked. Parasites, trapped proteins, you know, trapped fats, all kinds of things happen. So we know that we know. I know. I've seen it, I know. And the science knows. But most people don't know, you know, and I understand that. But again, because of this cooked food thing, it's become such a habit, such an addiction for most people. And when they go back to tasting it, it grabs them, it sucks them right back in, just like smoking, so just like drugs, just like drinking. It does that.
So like 80% raw is still 20% addicted, which will lead to maybe 30% cooked, then 40, and then you're right.
Here's the thing about that. I appreciate when people do 50%, 60% raw living foods, 80%, 90%, but you just got to know that if you want 80% results and you're on 80% raw foods, you're going to get 80% results.
Yeah.
If you want 90% results, you're going to get 90% results. You go 90% raw.
I like to use myself as an example.
But if you want 100% results, if you want to get well, and if you want to stay well, and you want to feel great, and if you want to maintain your vitality and your youth and your strength and your energy and your power, then you go 100%. That's ultimately what you want to do.
The example here is myself. Now, you know, last time I was hanging with you, you know, we've been off and on, but I just wasn't ready for certain things. And now that I've been 100% raw for the last 6 months, now you say, oh, Dan, now you're ready. So here's what's next. You know what I mean? So there's been an evolution, and everyone's noticing it, the people closest to me, you. And I feel like just being 100% raw does something to your spirit that prepares you for the next level of releasing and addictions and habits. So that I've really been really accelerating since I went 100% raw.
Let me ask you something. When's the last time you created a declaration?
Actually, I just wrote one the other day right after you got here. And I've been trying to write a declaration for about 3 years, well, 2.5 years since we met. And I wrote one and I called you at 4 in the morning. But it wasn't, it didn't.
It wasn't the
this one came to me at 4 in the morning after sleeping for 2 hours. And I spent 2 hours and it came out of the most divine place. And it was what I really wanted.
That's the one I'm talking about right there. It was you picked it up and you put it on paper and you've been reading it 3 times a day and your life will never be the same.
Nope.
That was a very powerful declaration, and I can only ask you, with your permission, if we can put it on lucro.com website to help others in the future. And that would be an honor. And because you see, every time somebody does create one, especially out of inspiration, I have a colleague, a friend, Storm, he did the same thing, and his life has just been transformed also. So, you know, I've seen it many times, but it's, you know what, it's far in between people that actually do it. Very far in between. Very few people on the planet actually take the time and the dedication and the inspiration to put down exactly what they want and how they want to live, how they want to be.
Ago, and I've already gone through like a quantum evolution because I read it every day, and then I do all the things in there. Like even if I miss it, then at 12:30 I can fit in a little breath work.
I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I've seen in the last 3 days how you've been evolving very quickly just from reading 3 times a day in the last few days that I've been here. So it's really been exciting for me. Right now I wish I could stay another day or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But you know, I have commitments. I need to go back or where I came to so I can do help more people. But it's been such an honor. I hope it's been helpful in the things I've been answering for you and for everybody else. But
well, I want
remember,
they just love you.
Remember the first principle. The first principle: communication, connect. You know, surrender.
Yes.
And you know, I mean,
well,
you know, it's such an incredible thing.
It's the importance of communicating with yourself.
It's that internal dialogue in a gentle way, in a powerful way.
That was what I was missing. And then I was not able to do that with the people because I wasn't doing it with myself. Gentle, respectful communication with myself. So that's really what I've got.
So that internal dialogue really makes a big difference.
I'll be able to really work with that internal dialogue.
And you're also getting a distinction who's governing who.
Right.
You were looking
in my declaration, it says, I will stay in conscious contact 100% of the time. Not just 50% of the time. I'm 50% spiritual.
So what you're basically saying, you're going to be a conscious thinker, but also conscientious of your emotional state that you're in. But you're going to be a conscious eater, conscious in everything that you do, in your conduct and how you say things, what you do with your life, where you go with it, and how your state of being. You're being conscientious now. You're being awake, and you're being present to your breath. You're being present to even your heart pumping. You're being present how beautiful and powerful your body works for you, and how it does so much for you. You know, you're being present to all these things. You're even being present to Sophia, your significant other, to where you're being more sensitive, more in tune, more in sync, listening more powerfully. I mean, you're doing many things different than before. So I'm really proud and honored.
I got a lot of great friends.
And you got great friends. Very great friends.
I say my family.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want them to leave, ever.
And remember, tapping into the elements and incorporating the elements daily, it's stimulating your lymphatic system. That's why I do 20 minutes of rebounding, yoga, breath work, hot cold applications and things like that, just to keep the lymph stimulated and moving, right? And then, of course, the raw living cultured foods. But remember, I've declared it, I claimed it, I called it, and I chose it, and I'm doing it. And so I'm doing my best to live inside my own integrity with the things I chose and declared for my life, so I can live a very powerful, wonderful life. So
let's take the last 5 minutes and go over some real practical stuff. Because the raw thing, there's like wars going on.
Well, people sometimes wonder, how do you get proteins, carbs, and fats? And how do you sustain that? Because that's one of the reasons why I think people go back to eating animal protein, because they're not getting the protein from their vegetarian lifestyle. Granted, 95% of the vegetarians in the world are going back to eating animal protein after 10, 15, 20, even 30 years later, because I've seen them. And the interesting thing, I think, is that 95% of the vegetarians in the world are pale, weak, sickly, and they're not strong and powerful. And I've seen that. And I've seen a lot of people tell me, and I've heard a lot of people tell me that they're discouraged to become a vegetarian because of this fact. You know, they don't want to become weak, frail, and pale, and all that. You know what I mean? And sickly. Now, that's the thing.
Me either, bro.
And I've had people even say things like they've seen people on raw foods getting weak and lanky, and and losing their power, and they're aging fast, and they're wondering why. What's up, right? So remember, it's not just being vegetarian, vegan, raw food lifestyle that's going to cut it. What I have a sense of is, and just remember, I was in the wilderness for 40 days on water and the elements and everything, and I realized something very significant. It's not just the food that you eat that makes the difference. It's that connection. It's doing the breath. Really doing the breath, really breathing slow and deep, and being present to your breath. These are important things. And grounding yourself, and stimulating the lymph. And as far as the food thing, when you learn how to eat fruits and vegetables, combine them properly, and learn how to soak the seeds, how to germinate the seeds, and incorporate them as you need them, and have different varieties of seeds and nuts, by soaking, germinating, activating, culturizing, it releases the amino acids, the fatty acids, and the glucose that are in seeds, because all seeds and nuts have proteins, carbs, and fats, but they need to be released. They need to be bioavailable to your cells. And this is one of the keys that's missing for most people.
I think a lot of people eat soaked nuts and seeds, and then they give like fat or seeds a bad rap because they're just not aware of that activation living life force process.
Oh, you just hit a key factor there. So the idea is that you have to understand that even if you soak some nuts and seeds, they don't always germinate because they've been taken out of their shell. So one way you can activate them and pre-digest them and make them enzyme activated is by culturizing. That's why I love and enjoy Life Biotic from Pyridine, because Pyridine has the best of the best, highest quality, highest potency for the lowest cost in the world right now. And I use a teaspoon right in the blender, that starts it, and I just take these pre-soaked seeds or nuts, whatever I'm working with, and just blend it up into a cream, let it sit. 5-6 hours later, you got yourself a yogurt.
Coconut almond yogurt.
Almond coconut yogurt. Pistachio or raw organic pistachio yogurt, right? You got sunflower seed yogurt, pumpkin seed yogurt, sesame seed yogurt. You know,
it pumps you up. I just wanted all the young guys to know, or anybody else that needs that strength. I always, whenever I'm hanging around you, I always put on like an inch, and I just feel, stronger.
You know, I not that long ago, I haven't done pull-ups for years and years and years, and somebody said, how many pull-ups can you do? I don't know. So I just grabbed a pipe and popped 20 of them, just like that. And they looked at that and they go, I can't even do 15. And they go, well, you can start learning how to put life into your body and get life out, but I'll tell you, I promise you this, and all of you, that as soon as I get the books and DVDs done that I'm working on, and duplicate this knowledge and experience that I have over the years, I'm definitely going to go back to training. And I would like to incorporate a few key people close to me that we can train together, so that way, I call it spiritual training, to evolve to a point where you can do like incredible things that you could never do before, so people can look at that and go, wow, that's amazing, that's incredible. And then they're going to look at that and go, what's the secret? And then I'm going to say, the secret is follow the 4 principles, implement and apply the 4 principles of life, and master them. Because if you do that, you can easily hike the mountain, swim across lakes, and do this and this and this and this. You know, to do this for 7 minutes, the plank here, do that for 7 minutes, that's my record. My mentor could do it an hour, But I'm just saying, even 1 minute of this, it takes something.
Most people cannot do that.
Most people can't even do it 1 second.
Yeah.
I can take these 2 chairs right now and put my body straight like that. My record's 7 minutes on that one.
You never showed me that one. I'll start working on
I'll do that one next time.
Okay.
Anyway.
We got a couple minutes here.
You know what? If there's one last thing.
1 minute.
You have one last thing you want to ask?
1 minute. 1 minute is enough to say goodbye, but I think the essence of it is there. Keep your mind open. there's no one right way to be a raw vegan. And the other people that are living differently.
It depends where you're living. It depends what part of the world you're living in and what your body's going to gravitate to. And when I'm in Washington, I eat differently there compared to when I'm in Costa Rica or Panama. You know what I mean? When I'm in Hawaii.
It's important to eat living foods because then it's not dead and then it's not clogging you up.
Right,
And
right.
so-
I stay on raw living foods, cultured foods, plant-based, organic. I didn't do that, but I've learned how to work it. I've learned how to listen to my body. So I'm encouraging you also to listen.
So fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds,
Soak
and
them, germinate
listen
them.
to yourself.
Yeah, listen. Don't listen to Lou Corona. Don't listen to anybody out there. Listen to this.
That's the key.
That's